All right, this is the link for this evening's class. Please share the link. You can share it to your groups, your WhatsApp group, your Facebook groups. You can share the link this evening. Just copy and paste it, and you could share the link. All right, a very pleasant good evening to all in the class of Steele this evening. I want to say a special good evening to our COO in the person of Her Excellency Doreen Barungi out of Uganda, dressed in blue. Her Excellency Doreen, pleasant good evening to you, ma'am. I want to acknowledge our Chief of Protocol out of the United Kingdom, His Excellency Dr. Donald Ewers, Your Excellency Dr. Donald Ewers, with us this evening, and he's in London. I'm sorry, Birmingham. Sorry, Birmingham, the United Kingdom. I want to acknowledge the person of Her Excellency Bishop Dr. Comfort Adu out of Ghana. Her Excellency Bishop Comfort Adu is responsible for our West Africa class of Steele, and she's also responsible for the Monarchs of Africa. I want to acknowledge the person of His Excellency Daniel Sopuru, who is responsible for those in the Franco region. And we have with us none other than His Excellency Barrister Anthony Uweshia, who is one of the founders and one of the foundation partners and associates and lifetime members of the class of Steele. And it is always such a pleasure to have His Excellency Anthony Uweshia out of Nigeria with us. We also have Zanis Amaka Curry out of the United Kingdom. Zanis, it's a pleasure to have you with us this evening in the class of Steele. And there are others who are also with us, but they're not showing up on the video. You're all welcome. Acknowledging also the person of His Excellency Olusegun Olukoya, who is responsible for our youth globally. The class of Steele, we are going to be closing for the summer, for our summer break, and we will be closing on the 6th of August, which it is this Friday coming, will be our last class of Steele until the 1st of September in this year. So we'll be closing for a couple of weeks. And on the 7th of September, we will be launching our youth arm of the class of Steele. So we will be going into establishing the youth arm of the class of Steele, where the members of the youth section will now be coming together. We already have over 40 or 50 youth who will be coming into the induction class on Saturday in the class of Steele. And we want the next couple of weeks to be focused on establishing the youth arm of the class of Steele. This evening, I have been inspired and encouraged by a number of our international partners and associates. And again, I want to identify Her Excellency Dr. Anita Davis Defoe. We've been inspired to give you a master class that is going to be a significant blessing to you. It's called Building a Legacy. Class of Steele is in the process of building a legacy. And this evening is going to share with you some of the points, some of the ideas and some of the thoughts, and teach you how to build a legacy. Incidentally, please allow me to also welcome our past COO and one of the founding partners of the class of Steele in the person of Her Excellency Victoria Okedare out of the country of Nigeria. Your Excellency Victoria Okedare, you're very welcome to the class this evening. Without any further ado and all the excitement that is in me, let's jump straight in to this evening's class. And this evening's class, again, as I mentioned, is called Building a Legacy. Let me share my screen with you and jump right into it. Take notes, because this evening's class is for you. And it is key because I want you to get to the place where you do not just build a business or a corporation that is going to be for within your lifetime. You don't work at a 9 to 5. You focus on what legacy are you leaving behind and how to build a legacy. All right, let's jump straight into the class. Just let me get my screens all in order and make sure that everything is good. Get that away. And just let me get everything together. Yeah. Make this look right. Put that there. All right. So jumping straight into this evening's class and this evening's session, building a legacy. And I want us to think firstly on this aspect. Are you building a legacy, or are you just existing within a time period of while you are here and not concerned about after you are gone? Because it's important. Don't go through this class without understanding specifically who we are talking to and why we are speaking with you. I'm speaking to every one of you as legacy leavers or legacy builders. That's my purpose for this evening's class. The building of a legacy. The process of working assiduously on a project, focus on putting a current stamp on the present structure with the full knowledge and awareness of its intention for future generations. I coined this interpretation of a legacy. What is a legacy? What is your understanding when you think of a legacy? It is a process of working assiduously, consistent, fervently on a project, whatever the project is, whatever it is that you're working on, but focused on a current stamp on the present structure. You're putting a stamp on it. You're putting your hallmark on it. You're putting your logo on it, your branding on it. You're giving it something that is present. But the reason why you're doing it is with the full knowledge and awareness. You're mindful of what you're doing. You're aware of what you're doing. And what are you doing is your intention for future generations. If you have your children, you're thinking on, am I going to build my house and leave it for my sons or my daughters? Am I going to build my business and have my sons and my daughters or those who are in my team or my family that are going to be responsible for it after I'm gone? What are you doing to leave or build a legacy currently? Do you have something with your brand on it, your stamp on it, that it's yours for you to give away, for you to bequeath to someone? What are you doing? And I want to challenge us as a people this evening. Please do not take this class lightly. As a matter of fact, I want you to take this extremely serious as if you are going to die tomorrow. What do I mean by that? A lot of individuals think they're going to be here forever. And as a result of that, they don't focus on building a legacy, or they're not prepared to leave a legacy. Ask yourself a question. if I die right now, right this minute, what legacy am I leaving? And have I prepared those who are the recipients of that legacy? Have I prepared them for it? Does my son Joshua know what daddy wants for him? Yes. My son is 6 years old and he has a registered company. He's 6 years old. Listen to what I'm saying to you. You see, when you are building a legacy, it's important to understand that it needs to be focused from the beginning. My son is 6 years old and he already owns a registered company in his name at 6 years old. Why? Because I want to leave a legacy for my son. My son is 6 years old and he already understands what I'm doing with the class of Steele. My son is 6 years old and is already talking about, Daddy, I want to have meetings with my friends. My son is home educated. Why? Because I am imparting into my son the values that I want him to be raised up with, so that when I go, I started the process of that legacy. There's a rubber stamp that I'm placing on the legacy for the next generation to come. Leaving or transferring a legacy. The act of transferring or leaving a gift or bequest that is handed down, endowed, or conveyed from one person, family, association to the next generation. I want you to get that. So you have a legacy now where it is structured. I'm leaving a legacy for my children. That's one aspect of a legacy. My children. My son already knows the expectation of daddy. That's good. That's the start and the fundamental reason you're on the earth. To leave a legacy for your children. My son, when he grows out, he knows how to behave. He knows how to respect his elders. He knows how to respect the law. He knows how to be. He's 6 years old, but I'm starting the foundation. I'm building in him what I expect of him. I'm building in him those things conducive to being a successful young man. Nobody is minding my son for me. I'm minding my children. I'm minding our children, my family. My wife knows as a husband who I am, how I behave. So it starts with your family. Don't try to build a legacy and save the world and your family is dying. Don't try to build a legacy and your family are not a part of it. Those that you are responsible for making sure that their future on the earth is secured. Leave something for your children or your family or your loved ones if you don't have children. Your association. A lot of you might not be like me that are part of organizations or groups or associations, but you need to be a part of associations. Don't let your legacy be so small that it's just a little family legacy, a little family circle that if your son doesn't catch your vision, it dies. You need to let your legacy be larger than just your family. An association. Are you a part of any associations? Are you a member of a church, a building society, a charitable organization, a peace organization, an international governmental organization that your input into it is going to form and create a legacy? Are you mentoring others, individuals? So I want you, when you're looking at a legacy, look at a bigger picture than just your family. Look at your associations. But the key thing is that you are looking at associations with a mindset of the next generation. Remember this. Don't be investing in organizations that you see they are short term. They don't have 100-year vision, 100-year plan. Invest in organizations, social groups, community groups, humanitarian groups that have a succession plan, a plan that goes on with a legacy, that you could be a part of building their legacy, but it is also a part of your legacy as well. Let's go on. Why are you building? Building a legacy. Why are you, Minister Ewers, why are you building? Your Excellency Barrister, why are you building? This is the first question you need to ask yourself. I'm going to teach you how to build a legacy from the bottom up. So take notes. All of what I'm going to share with you in this first aspect is closet. It is only you. It is not your husband, your wife, your best friend, your community group. No. You're talking about building your personal legacy. Why are you building a legacy? Why do you want to build a legacy? Ask yourself that question. The class of Steele. I'm going to be using the class of Steele as the model so that you get a sense of what I'm trying to share with you. Why am I building the class of Steele? I'm building the class of Steele because I think that the gift that is in me, the knowledge and the wisdom that have been imparted to me from mentors that have died and gone on. A lot of my mentors have died and gone on. And they never documented all of what they have poured into me. And I think that what they have poured into me is valuable, is relevant, is credible. And I think that it is something that has caused me to be a young man that when I look in the mirror, I'm proud of me. Come on, somebody, wave at me. Hey, are you proud of who you are because of the mentors that invested stewardship of teaching you, stewardship of allowing you to use their name and their character? Are you proud of your mentors? I want to look at His Excellency in this class of Steele, all of you, and ask you that question. Are you proud of you? I want to thank mentors such as His Excellency I was going to say something, but let me hold my peace. I don't get beside myself. So before I do that, I was actually going to call some names, and then I decided, Michael, please don't do that. There are too many mentors that if they hear this broadcast and you miss them out, they will want to know, how comes you called him but you didn't call me? So I will say it this way. I want to thank all of my mentors. You know yourselves. You know how you've poured into me. I represent you. I stand as a man that I know that if you are looking down as a cloud of witness, among a cloud of witnesses, you would say, that's my boy. That's my boy. I believe I've done you proud. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I am doing it. Why are you trying to leave a legacy? Ask yourself that question. You need to tick that box. Why am I doing this? Can't be about yourself. It got to be larger than you to be sustainable. But what is the legacy? What is the legacy? First, you ask yourself why, but then you got to ask yourself what? What is the legacy I'm leaving? I'm going to leave my brains with you. Why do you think I make all of these classes available on YouTube and on Facebook and LinkedIn and social media? Why do you think? Do you really think that I want these classes to be secret services? No. I want the world to know what was in this young man's head. I want the world to look and see this young man had something to offer. And this young man wants his brain to be out there, that you as an individual, wherever you are, whatever your financial status, you have the ability to get into the brain of that young man. That's why I'm doing it. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving you my knowledge, my wisdom. I have read so many books. I've read encyclopedias like they were just novels of excitement. I have read from some of the most powerful writers around the world. I'm not here to boast on my readings and writings because all of you have stories, but I'm talking about why I am doing it and what I'm doing. And I want you to build your legacy. This is what I want to inspire you to do. I have written so many books. My goodness. My wife keeps saying to me, oh, darling, please post them. Oh, darling, please put them up. And I keep saying, darling, but I'm not ready. But I'm not ready. My wife is begging me to post and share my books. So many. Why are you keeping them a secret? I'm waiting for the right time. I'm not desperate. Because everything you do must be systematic. Come on, somebody. You've got to be systematic with your vision. And if I should go to my maker before you see those books, I'm not worried because my son and my wife and those that remain have access to them. So the legacy will not die. Who are you leaving a legacy for? You need to be focused on who. Who are you leaving this legacy for? Who? Do not talk about building a legacy if you don't know why you're building it and who you're building it for. You have to be specific because you need to mentor the who's that you're building a legacy for. You need to mentor them. You need to pour into them. I have Her Excellency Doreen Burunji, our COO in the class of Steele. I'm pouring into her. She is one of the persons that I have to pour myself into. Why? Because she is the COO of the class of Steele. She needs to know me, understand the vision. My chief of protocol, he needs to understand us and know what we're doing. So who are you preparing to leave that legacy with? My son, my wife, Her Excellency Jeannie Steele, one of the most amazing individuals that I know, one of the most brilliant minds. If you think I am intelligent and I'm a genius, I promise you, when you have an opportunity to sit at the feet of the First Lady, you will understand me a whole lot better. She is one of the most amazing human beings that I know. And I'm so proud to be privileged the stewardship of her fellowship. The First Lady. Can I say my siblings? I can't say my siblings. The reason why I can't say my siblings and you yourself might not be able to say your siblings is because you have to appreciate individuals have their own vision for their lives and their children. And you have to be focused on who you're leaving that legacy for. Then, When are you going to give them the legacy? How many of you know this? A legacy does not have to be when you die. You could sit as an old man and hand over the baton to your son or to your team and say, this is the legacy I'm handing to you, Your Excellency Doreen Barunji. This is what I'm giving to you, and I'm going to watch you manage it. And sit back and walk from your lofty place of successfully completing your task of creating that legacy, and manage them before you go to your maker, and make sure that they manage it the correct way. There's some persons that they have not prepared the who's, and they just die, and their vision fail miserably after they die. How many companies and organizations you see scatter after the CEO or the COO or the founder dies? Why? Because no one was put in position to make that legacy go forward. How many ministers and powerful leaders have died and the church died with them? And the only messages you'll hear are repeats of their message. Nobody develops anything new. Nobody is doing anything else but repeating what that person said. Listen carefully to me. Listen to me in the class of Steele. All of you have watched me for so many months now. Have any of you ever seen me preach the same, or should I use the term, have any of you ever seen me teach the same class twice? Come on now. You've never seen me teach the same class twice. Why? Because there's so much to learn, so many new things, so many new ideas, so many new ways of doing things. What I want to equip you to be is the most powerful you that you could be, so that when I go, the class of Steele will have you doing you. Be the best you that you can be. Do not be just sharing my videos and my teachings and says, oh, this is the class of Steele, Dr. No. You missed it. The legacy I want to leave is I want Her Excellency Doreen, when I should go, or His Excellency Anthony Uweshia, if he is here, or Her Excellency Victoria Okedare, or Her Excellency Dr. Comfort, I want who is remaining to be the voice that carries their voice resoundingly for the next generation. And when they die, I want them to sit back, and the person that they're tagged, I want that person's voice. Come on, somebody. I don't want people to be repeating me and looking back at, no. Don't miss what we're trying to build in the class of Steve. We are building a legacy. This is your legacy. When is very important. When? It's very important. Is it going to be before you die? Or is it going to be after you die? You see, if it is before you die, then you are the person responsible for telling Ricky, come here. When I die, you are the man that is going to sit in this place. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. I am telling you it with my own mouth. Why? Because if you do not do that, you are prone to losing your vision to the highest bidder who might not even have your heart. You're prone to leaving your vision or your legacy to the richest person who might just have currency but absolutely no brains. Make sure you know when. and position your legacy importantly. A lot of you parents have inheritances for your children, but you're waiting until the right time to do it. Listen to me. The right time to do it is from the time they were born, so that you continue to build them with the character, the attitude, and the expectation you have of them. Mold them into it. Let's go on. Let's go on. This is important. This is very important. This is very important. Your name must be attached to it. Your name. Your name. Your name. Your name. You must have a brand. A lot of you are operating and you don't have a brand. You don't. You are operating in the class of Steele. Let me share some thoughts with you to stimulate you to the next level. I mentor world changers, world leaders. That's my brand. I'm a mentor. That's my brand. But watch this. Her Excellency Doreen Burunji, our COO in the class of Steele, she is the founder and the owner of Beyond the Sky Travel and Tours and Travel. She has her own brand that has her name on it. I do not want her brand. I do not want her name. The class of Steele is just creating an environment where we are mentoring her and building her to be effective with her own brand. I don't need her brand to represent me. I'm a brand all by myself. Come on, somebody. His Excellency Anthony Uweshia has his brand. He has his ministry, his church. He does not come under the umbrella of the class of Steele to have the class of Steele making him a brand. He has his own brand. The class of Steele is not his legacy. His own brand is his legacy. Her Excellency Victoria Okedair, she has her own ministry, her own brand. Our youth coordinator, architect Olukoya Olusogun, he is an architect that is setting up branches of his organization globally. He has his own brand. Then why is he in the class of Steele? Why is he sitting under the brand of the class of Steele? He's sitting under the brand of the class of Steele because he is a part of giving back to the nations of the world what nobody else is doing. That's why they're here. Because we are giving back to the world. The class of Steele is building a legacy of giving back to the world what the world needs. Let's look at the building of a legacy. Let's look at some points. Take some notes. I want you to take very copious notes this evening. And the reason why specifically is because a lot of you will ask me a specific question. Your Excellency, Dr. Steele, I've spoken to corporation leaders. I've spoken to high government officials. I've spoken to individuals in some powerful circles globally, and they all ask me one question, one single question. And I'm not going to charge you. I'm not going to tell you that this will cost you $500,000 to sit in a meeting with me like some masterminders do. I'm going to give you this for free. These notes that I'm going to give you this evening is because if I should go to my maker tomorrow, I want you to know some things that I wish I had known a whole lot earlier. Because if I had known them a whole lot earlier, I would have been a whole lot further in life. Not that I'm not far. Please don't think I'm saying I'm not far in life. I'm not disappointed at where I am at all. But I could have been a whole lot further. So I'm going to give you some things this evening and take them. Not because they're free and they're coming from me. Take them from gurus that will charge you $5,000 and $10,000 to sit in a master class with them. I promise you, you will embarrass yourself if you go to a master class and you get them and then look at me and say, hey, but he's giving this for free and I didn't value it. Take notes this evening. Resources. Every legacy that you're building is going to need resources. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Put it on your chewing gum and chew it. Put it in your night aroma and sleep on it. Because it's one of the most important points you will ever get in building a legacy. Why do a lot of builders fail? This is the question they ask me. Dr. Steele, I want you to answer me this question. One question. I said, okay, why do legacy builders fail? And I'm going to tell you why they fail. Are you ready? You see, you're going to argue with me. You're going to debate with me. You're going to have some powerful people around the world saying to you, this man is just full of himself. You're going to have individuals telling you all sorts of things. That's fine. But I want to give you my point, and you decide for yourself if it is credible. The reason why a lot of legacy builders fail at building a successful legacy, point number one, if you do not own 80% of the resources to build your legacy, you are already starting and setting yourself up for failure. Where did these figures come from? Did you Google it? Did you see it in this great manual, in this great book? No. This is Dr. Michael Anthony Steele assessment. This is Dr. Michael Anthony Steele's own analysis from hundreds of books and documents and readings and teachings and master classes that I've attended. This is my own personal assessment. This is also my own proven assessment. If you don't own 80% of what you need to build your legacy, don't start it. What do I mean by 80%? I'll go into those details for you, but let me go on. Personal in hand. You must have it. You must not need to ask anyone permission. You must not need to get anyone's approval. You must not need to have anyone telling you if you can or cannot. You must not need to have anyone that you need to depend on for it. to make it, to develop it, to improve on it, you need no one, absolutely no one. So Dr. Steele, how much percent of the class of Steele and where you are do you own? So let me tell you, I asked my wife, darling, what percentage of the class of Steele do we own? Your Excellency, Jeannie Steele, could you unmute yourself, please, briefly? Are you in a position to unmute yourself quickly?
Yes, good evening, everyone.
What percentage of the class of Steele do we own to cause our legacy to be successful, Your Excellency?
At the moment, we're operating on 100% ownership of the resources.
100% ownership of resources, tools, and ability. Is that correct, Your Excellency?
Correct.
So are you trying to say to me, Your Excellency, that if every single person here in the class of Steele drops out and says, this man is full of himself, we have no interest in working with him, are you trying to say to me, Your Excellency, that the legacy of the class of Steele is not even compromised?
That is correct. It's not compromised.
And it is not hindered?
No, it's not hindered in any way.
Not any way at all?
No, I don't believe it is. Or it would be no.
Okay, I'm going to stop there and I want to share this with you. This is not being arrogant. I'm talking to you about building your legacy. Come on, wave at me. I can see you. I'm seeing all of your faces. Wave at me if you see what I'm saying. I'm talking about building your legacy. You must be in maximum control of your legacy. You have to be. Too many of you have partners, funders, sponsors, investors, advisors, counselors that have too much stake in your legacy for you to be successful. And if any of those individuals drop out, your legacy is dead. You can't complete your legacy. You can't fulfill it. The class of Steele, my wife is one of the best designers and I cherish her ability to design just like me. We're designers. I'm a computer genius of many, many, many years. I'm au fait and proficient in every area of computer marketing and media marketing. I'm exceptionally competent. With regards to assets and tools necessary to cause the class of Steele to function and resources, all of the resources to cause the class of Steele to function and operate, I own, we own all of them. We do not need absolutely any person for this. Please bear with me. I'm not boasting. I'm teaching you something that is important if you want to build a successful legacy. Please grasp what we're sharing with you. Personal network, 5%. What does 5% mean? Because of what you're doing, you need to be in an environment where to expand and to grow and to cause your legacy to be successful, there's a network that you need. I need Her Excellency Doreen. I need His Excellency Donald Ewers. I need His Excellency Anthony Uwasia. There's a percentage that is necessary for your legacy to be successful. You need others. You need a network. So you need the resources of that network, but never let the resources that you need from that network exceed your own resources in your legacy building. Are you with me? Never let what you need exceed what you already have, that will cause you to be in a position that you are unable to function. Accessible. You need at least 10% that is accessible. Every vision needs resources, currency. You need to have a 10% that might be accessible. There are things that are accessible, but you might not have access to them right now. Your Excellency Doreen, you're doing some things that you don't have access to them now, but they don't stop your operation from going forward. They don't stop beyond the sky from functioning. There are things that are accessible, but they're not immediately accessible. You get what I'm saying? You must make sure that those are at a minimum for your legacy to be successful. Inaccessible. Here is important. Those inaccessible things. Do not allow your legacy to be built with inaccessible things that exceed 5%. Wave at me if you heard what I just said. Do not start. Don't even step out of the box to talk about building a legacy if the inaccessible things are greater than 5%. And they are more important for your legacy to be a success. For example, a lot of people say, oh, I only need $500,000 and everything else I need, I have. Give me $500,000 and everything else I have. I don't need anything else. Just give me a check for $500,000 and I'm fine. That is the smallest part of what I need. Just that $500,000. Can I tell you the honest truth? No. $500,000 is 80% of your project. Wave at me if you get what I just said. Because if you have to sit down and wait to get $500,000 to start and to start building, you don't have anything worthy of building a legacy. Because if that $500,000 is a grant, you have to show what that grant is going to produce. If it is a loan, you have to work assiduously in a hurry to start paying back for that loan. Are you with me? So building that legacy is going to put your son or those who are going to inherit the legacy in debt if you die after you get that $500,000. Immediately, you have problems. So you need to put that 5% in three categories: immediate, midterm, and long-term. The inaccessible things that you need. It's okay to have a legacy with inaccessible things. How many of you get what I'm saying? You will never ever have everything that you need. There's some things that you will need, but they need to be at a minimum. And you need to divide the inaccessible things into three categories. Immediate needs, so that as soon as you start your legacy, there are focal points in your mind. Immediately, you are set out to accomplish that inaccessible thing immediately. Or it is something that as you build, others will get on board and it will work itself out, which is midterm. Or it is something that in the long term, you will get it. So you don't have to worry too much about it. But you need to define these resources. What is in hand? What is in your network? And then the accessible and inaccessible. Are you with me? Let's go on quickly. Am I doing okay? Wave at me if I'm doing okay so far. Are we doing okay? I can see. Well done. Let's go on. As you see the note there, it says always own 80% of the resources, always. And you must be the master of your vision, always. I watch Dragons Den and see these individuals coming to individuals and saying, I'm going to pour the money in your business, but I want 60% because I'm putting in all the money. Are you kidding me? You're not building a legacy. You're building a business for somebody else. That's not your legacy. That's somebody else's legacy. Because if you need that amount of money to get you to where you need to get, and that person is going to have such a stake in your project, please, that's their legacy. That's not yours. Let's go on. Protection. Rules for success. No one should be aware of your vision at this point except your spouse or co-visionary. Listen carefully. No one should be aware of your vision at this point except your spouse or co-visionary. Remember, we're talking about the foundation of building a legacy. Doreen, you are going somewhere. And you are leaving a legacy. We are franchising Beyond the Sky tours and travel, but only to the right individuals that we bring on board. Why? Because we're building a legacy. The character of individuals we want to be working with Beyond the Sky, the vision of individuals who are going to come to work with Beyond the Sky, we are building a legacy. Her Excellency Bishop Comfort is in Ghana and responsible for West African region, and we are looking at the monarchs of Africa. We're not just choosing any monarch out of Africa to be a part of what we're doing. No, because your monarch does not qualify you to be a part of our legacy. Our legacy has some characteristics that are ingrained in it. Her Excellency Bishop Comfort knows exactly the caliber and character of individuals that we are adding to the class of Steele Monarchs of the Nation. Why are we adding them to the Monarchs of the Nation? We know why we're adding them. We know what we want from them, but we also know the character we want them to have as individuals. So when you speak to Her Excellency Bishop Comfort, she is the one that is going to determine whether you fit or you don't fit. There is nobody else. She's responsible for West Africa and Ghana, so she knows what she's looking for. And I trust her leadership. Why? Because the class of Steele is made up of individuals who understand what they're looking for and who understand what they are doing. Because if I should go to my maker, you have Her Excellency Bishop Comfort to deal with. She's the one who knows what is happening and why she's doing what she's doing. She's the one with the portfolio. Are you with me? So in building a legacy, you must have those who know specifically why you're doing what you're doing. Do not expose everything to everyone. Your vision must be closed to the general public until you are ready to cut the red ribbon. A lot of people cut the red ribbon when they do their first session. They're excited. Woo! And then they don't show up for work the next day. Come on, wait a minute if you get what I'm saying. A lot of individuals, they jump out of the box. They have all the energy and they're running. Oh, and they take off. And you say, my God, he's a good runner. I was a long distance and I still am a long distance runner. And I have a secret. You're going to laugh at this one. I learned this from one of my colleagues. Barrister, you're going to love this one, Your Excellency. There's a guy called Sobers, and he used to run cross country with us, and we were the fastest runners in school. I was among one of the cross country runners that was a very good long distance runner. But Sobers was a practical joker. Couldn't run to save his life too long. You always catch him walking. But I learned something from Sobers. Sobers will say, Mike, stop, come here. I want to tell you a joke. And he would jog next to me and tell me a joke. And I don't want to listen to him because he is such a great comedian. And when he tells me the joke, I am killing myself laughing. How many of you know that if you are running and you are laughing, it does not work? Wave at me if you get what I'm trying to say to you. And when I am laughing, I am falling down and creeping and killing myself laughing. And Sobers stops laughing because the joke isn't funny to him and he is making headway. What have I learned from that? Sometimes you have to tell people jokes that are not funny to you so that you could leave them behind laughing and keep running. You will get that tomorrow. There's some people that will look at you and take you as a joker. Don't mind him, he's a joker. Leave them laughing and keep running. Don't find the joke funny. Because the minute you find a joke funny, you will stop running. I hope you get what I just shared with you. Thank you so very much for receiving that joke. You don't have to pay for me in this session. Enjoy that joke. So here are some keys that I want to tell you about legacy. Let's look at the cage. Conceal, confidence, and conviction. Those are some key words to have. That's what C is for. Conceal, confidence, and conviction. You must conceal yourself and you must conceal the legacy. And please, don't tell anyone who you are going to leave your will to, because you might have someone deciding, I'm going to take you out before you get a chance to leave that legacy. How many families have lost loved ones out of bitter rivalry and jealousy because of who the legacy was going to be passed on to? You must conceal it. Get a lawyer. Get some confidence. Wave at me if you're hearing what I'm saying, and I hope you get where I'm going. Confidence. You must do what you're doing with confidence. Do not be wishy-washy. Be confident. Be very confident in what you are doing. Be focused. Let people think that you have done it 10 times over or 10,000 times already. When you speak about your legacy and your vision, be in a place where individuals just want to be with you, because every step of the way, they are seeing something new that is making them say, oh my God, I just want to be a part of this legacy. Have a conviction. Do not do anything or start anything without a positive conviction. Don't start it. Don't start it unless you are convicted. A, anonymous. Anonymous. I'm not going to go into anonymous with you because anonymous is for another master class. I can't give you everything. There's some things I have to leave to the masters. But I will tell you, in anonymous, A lot of you will hear me say to my watchers and my mentors, but to be quite honest, a lot of you don't see them, don't know them. Can I be honest with you? Why? Because they are very anonymous. But trust me, I know them. You need to have some anonymous things happening behind the scenes that nobody could see, that nobody understands, that nobody could figure out. Because surely the next section I'm going to teach you is going to tell you why you need the anonymous. Get going. The G is for get going. When you have your convictions, when you have your anonymouses, when you have your full vision, get going. It's not time to start talking anymore. Get going, get building, get working, get going. And know the end result from the beginning. Wave at me if you understand what I'm saying. If you do not know what the ending of your building is going to look like, you're building like a madman or mad woman. Take that note. His Excellency Olukoya is an architect, and His Excellency Olukoya gives a finished drawing that is rendered. Why? Because you want to look at the building that is going to be finished and say, this is what I want. And then you follow the steps to completion. Let me go on. Choosing your team. The building of a legacy. Choosing your team. Storming, forming, norming. I don't want to go into this one today, but I want you to remember this slide. The reason why I want you to remember this particular slide is because I am actually going to do a teaching at the appointed time on this particular slide, building of a legacy, the team. So remember this. It's gonna take some forging on your part. You're gonna have to bear the heat, take the heat. You're gonna have to. You cannot forge without taking heat. It's not possible. So let's leave that for another time. Let's leave that for your legacy and the private masterclass in the class of Steele. Choose your team. Rules for success. The time is 11 minutes past 10 here in the United Kingdom. I want to thank you so very much for listening. We just have one more slide after this slide. I'm not going to belabor you. I just want to tickle your intrigue. And then we're going to open to some questions and comments right after we go into this. But I want you to allow me to go through this last slide with you for the first part of this series on building a legacy. The next section on Wednesday, we will be talking about digging the dirt. You got to now get into digging the dirt and building and all the other aspects. But I want to talk about the team because this is very important. And by the way, I want you to understand something very carefully. All of this is you alone in your closet. All of what I'm sharing with you right now has absolutely nothing at this juncture to do with anyone. This is in your private closet with you and your visionary, or you and your husband, or you and your wife, or you and your creator, your God, your maker, or you and your thoughts. All of what I've shared with you thus far, up to this slide that I'm going to share with you, is very, very personal. All right? No one is responsible for this information that I'm sharing with you but you. This is private. Please take these notes. Rules for success. You must see your vision on the faces and in the characters, life goals, life focus, and personal ambitions of each member. What am I trying to say? Listen to me. Listen to me. A lot of people choose team players, and they choose team players to teach them a vision. For example, a lot of individuals, if you are an artist, but let's do it this way. If you are an artist with pencils and paint and crayons, and then you want to choose somebody on your team to build your gallery for painting and artwork, but you choose a mason. Come on, somebody. You choose a mason because you think he knows how to plaster a house, and plastering. Come on, somebody. I just want you to humor me. Humor me so you get what I'm trying to share with you. A lot of you choose individuals to be a part of your vision, and they have absolutely nothing to do with your vision. Your vision doesn't even interest them, doesn't intrigue them. Why did you choose them? You choose them because you like them. You choose them because they're your best friend. You choose them because they have money. You choose them because they're not important people. Listen to me very carefully. If you are looking at building a legacy, you cannot build a legacy with friends that are just liking you. Her Excellency Doreen Burunji is our COO. Why is she the COO of the class of Steele? Why am I building a legacy with her involved in it? Because she wants to be successful in her legacy. Because she wants to give back to Africa. Because that's what she's already doing. She already saves to school so many children in Africa. She already supports so many families. She already has a business that needs improving on and continue building on. So guess what? We are a perfect fit for life. The class of Steele is going to be doing traveling. We own a travel agency because we have a travel agency that belongs to our COO. Do I ever have to worry about traveling? No. Does the class of Steele members ever have to worry about traveling? No. Why? Because it's a perfect fit. We own a travel agency because we're going to be traveling. We're globally relevant. We're travelers. So it's a perfect fit. Wave at me if you get what I'm saying. So why would Her Excellency Doreen Burunji ever leave us? She will not. Why? Because we are a perfect fit for each other. All right. That's one secret. So you need to make sure that individuals fit what you're doing with them. His Excellency Donald Ewers is my chief of protocol. He is the chief of protocol for the class of Steele. Am I making him into something he's not? No. He is a man of very strict protocols. That's his life. That's his character. That's his nature. It is, he sits down and he just waits until called upon to do what he has to do, which it is himself. He doesn't have to go through studying and researching and trying to understand how to be himself. He's done it all his life. That's why he's our chief of protocol. Her Excellency Dr. Comfort Adu is responsible for West Africa and the regions of Africa and in Ghana. She's responsible for the presidents and the leaders. Am I trying to teach her how to do that? No. Because the frustrations of doing that, you will never imagine the frustrations and the headaches. Persons will resign and retire before they even start. If you know the frustration of dealing with political leaders and government officials, if you know the mental headache, torture, and frustration and vexation that is, trust me, it's not a glorious position to hold. But Bishop Comfort, Her Excellency Dr. Comfort, that's what she spent her whole life doing. It's nothing foreign to her. She is doing what she knows how to do best. Are you getting what I'm trying to share with you? If you do not see your vision on the faces and in the character or life goals or life focus and personal ambitions of each member of your team, don't add them to your team. You will fail. Because when they leave you, you will hear them saying, you know, I thought that what you were doing was what I wanted to do, but I have to be honest with you. This is not really my thing. You know, I really like you and appreciate you, but this is not my thing. You will hear that often, and your vision will die if you do not own over 80% of it. If it is dependent on those individuals you share your vision with, it will die. Am I talking to you? Come on. I want you to wave at me if you get what I'm saying. I'm not knocking any person. I'm teaching you how to build a legacy and look at those dynamics that are hindrances to building your legacy. If you don't know them, you will not understand them when they show up. And you will stop building when they show up and disappoint you. Do not try to mold your team members into something they are not. You're going to have to learn to appreciate individuals that you thought would be good for your team. You're going to have to appreciate releasing them professionally without trying to mold them into who they're not. You're going to have to appreciate that. That is all a part of building your legacy. How many pastors have members that come to the church and they thought they were going to stay in the church, or they thought they were going to stay in the ministry, or they thought they were going to stay supporting you? How many employers employed individuals in a job and a corporation, and the person sounded a good sound, talk a good talk, but when they get on the inside and they see your vision, you realize it's not the right fit. You are going to have to be prepared in your building of your legacy to release those individuals. Are you with me? You're going to have to be prepared to do that. But in being prepared to do that, it must not infringe or impose on the fact that your legacy is not hindered. Your legacy will never, ever be compromised. If you cannot see a way in which you can improve the lives of your team members, do not add them. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen. I say to individuals in life, this is how I live my life. I don't associate with you if I don't already know how I can make you better. I don't associate with you. I don't associate with you if I don't look at your organization and see how I can improve it or add value to it. I don't join you. You see, a lot of individuals only join organizations because they can see what they can get out of the organization. They can see what they can take from the organization. And when they get what they want, they leave you. I'm mentoring individuals and saying to you, if you don't see how you could add value to an organization, don't join it. Don't join it. Don't even add that organization to your team. If you don't genuinely see how you could add value to it. Why? Because every organization wants someone to add value to them. And if you add value to them, then it's going to be easy for them to add value to you. Wave at me if you get what I'm saying. It's going to be easy. Everybody keeps somebody around who adds value. Nobody gets rid of you if you add continued value. Nobody gets rid of you. Here's another important point. Know when and why to add competition to your team and how. Know when and why to add competition to your team. Dr. Steele, what are you saying to me? How do you mean add competition to my team? I don't understand. Is there value in competition on my team? Is there value in having somebody that wants to undermine what I'm doing on my team? Is there value? Is there value in having somebody that is doing the same thing that I am doing on my team? Is there value? I'm going to leave that for another master class, but I want to share a thought with you. In deep sea fishing, when they go out in the ocean, for many weeks, they're on the ocean, and they catch tuna and mackerel in huge, huge quantities. And they put them in tanks, these huge tanks, where the fish are in these huge tanks with water alive. But there's something that they do. They take sharks and put sharks in the tank as well. Why do they put sharks that are going to eat the tuna that are in the tank as well? Why would they put sharks in the tank? I'll tell you why. So the reason why they put sharks in the tank is because when you put all of these fish inside of the tank, they stop swimming. All of these mackerel in the tank, they stop swimming and they start to die because they're not swimming so much and they start to die. But when you put a shark in the tank, hey, come on, somebody. Every time the shark comes near, what are they going to do? Speed away from the shark. And the shark is going to be trying to catch them to eat them until his stomach is full. How many of you know when your belly is full, you stop feeding? Wave at me if you know that. When your stomach is full, you stop feeding. However, when your stomach is full, nobody knows that the shark's stomach is full. So every time the shark swims by, what are they going to do? Keep swimming away. And they're going to keep busy and keep active. Why? Because it's going to keep them alive during the process of transportation to the port. And when you get to the port, all of the dead ones have been eaten by the shark. And the strong, healthy ones are alive and make it safely to the market. That's the secret lesson for now I will give you on healthy competition. I will leave that with you for another class. And the final point, which is the very most important point, be aware that team members may leave you during the process. Be aware. Be aware that team members may just leave you during the process. Know the signs. I'm not going to tell you those signs. And I had a few points that I placed here, but I'm not going to share those points right now. They're for another master class when we're looking at your team. That's the end of part one. I want to thank you for listening to this evening's masterclass. And I'm just going to immediately open the floor to questions. The first person I'm going to pounce on is His Excellency Barrister Uwasia. Your Excellency Barrister Uwasia, I'm going to pounce on you. What is your comment on this evening class, Your Excellency?
Your Excellency, all the excellencies in the class, greetings to all of you. I want to thank Your Excellency, our mentor, Bishop Michael Steele, Thomas, for this wonderful class, quite educating and eye-opening. Second, I'm so privileged to be a part of tonight's class. It's been wonderful. You know, sometimes you think you know, whereas you don't even know. My eyes of understanding has been enlightened, and I've discovered a couple of things. And second, I would like you to know that you're a good man. You're a good man because the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And for what you have done for Josh, it makes you a good man. And because even the Bible also says he that cannot cater for his family is actually worse than an infidel. So, part of catering for your family is basically to leave an inheritance, to leave a legacy for them. You know, adding value to lives is all about that. Adding value to lives, impacting your world. You know, the question is, what would you actually say you have left behind? And what would people say about you after you have gone? What impact have you actually made? You know, and you know, where you talked about talking about seeing the end from the beginning, you know, is a masterpiece because that is a replica of God himself. He sees the end from the beginning. You must both be foresighted and insighted. So in everything we do, I totally actually agree with you, sir. For today's message, it has been a classic, what we in law would call locus classicus, because it's not all about us, it's all about the people that we're leaving behind. It's all about making impact, it's all about results. You can imagine your son at the age of 6 has a registered company in his name. I think my children, my sons should hear this, because it's something I'm actually looking forward to doing. If there was anything my father did for us, he gave us education, and all of us are well schooled, university level, all of us, all my siblings. And I believe that that is a great legacy. It's not all about maybe the company, it's not all about the money, but there are certain things you do for your children, for your generation, so that you can be remembered. And today, if not for my dad, I wouldn't actually be speaking English. And that is just the basic truth. So I really thank God for your heart, and for making sure that some of us are here tonight to hear this. It shows a man that has a golden heart. And I'd like you to know that I love you, and keep moving. You're impacting lives, you're touching lives, and that is all that matters. Sometimes I look at myself and I know that Bishop Michael Steele is in my story. And because you're in my story, when I get to the place of glory, there is no way, by the grace of God, I will forget you. I can't forget the class of Steele, because the class of Steele, if nothing, has impacted on all of us in one way or the other, including how to make use of the Zoom network. And I give you kudos to that. We were novices. We didn't know how to even operate the Zoom network. But thank God you came into our lives, you taught us, and today I could stand boldly. I use the Zoom to teach other people. People are connected to my own Zoom, and to God be the glory. God bless you. Thank you so immensely. And may I leave an opportunity for other people to talk. God bless you, sir.
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency. I want to take this opportunity. I was waiting to take an opportunity on the behalf of the class of Steele, our management and our team, to extend condolences to Her Excellency Victoria Okedire. I saw that she has come on after we started, but I want us for just to give a couple of seconds silence in the class of Steele in acknowledgement of her personal grief at the loss of her sister. And just bear with, just join us for a brief moment. Her Excellency Victoria Okedire is one of the persons that have caused the class of Steele to show a high level of excellence. She has contributed by being with us, taking copious notes. She's a mother to us, and the loss that she's experiencing of her sibling, I can assure you it's heartbreaking. And we in the class so still don't just want to run by without identifying with her suffering and her loss. So I would like us just for a brief moment to hold a few moments of silence on the behalf of Her Excellency Victoria Okedire, and let her know that the class of Steele, she has our prayers, our love, and we're holding up her arms, and she's not alone. And we are here, all of us, at any appointed time, ready to hear her and to listen to her and to love on her and appreciate her during this time of loss. So just bear with us for a brief moment as we remember Her Excellency Victoria Okedire. Thank you so very much for, thank you so very much for honoring her. Thank you. I will not exercise tears and emotion because we have to continue to be professional, but I really appreciate seeing her in the class this evening, and it was a joy to my heart. And any of you who want to just give her a call or send her a card or a little note of "we've got you," please do, please, and lift her up, because it's a time like this that we all need somebody to lift us up. Thank you so very much. I want to ask Her Excellency Doreen Barunji, our COO, for her thoughts this evening on this evening's teaching on leaving a legacy. Your Excellency Doreen, please share your thoughts this evening.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Michael Steele. Good evening to you, sir. All the ambassadors in the house, all our invited guests, thank you for coming to tonight's class. Personally, I would like to confirm that Your Excellency, Dr. Michael Steele, you're part of my story. I will agree so much with the first speaker, Barrister, and I cannot, what can I say? I cannot continue my life without you in my life. That's it. I have gotten this far. You've impacted my life so positively that when I'm with my peers, I feel so happy. I feel so girlish, which I didn't have before. I am free to express myself. I'm free to bring out my ideas and they are taken. And so for that, you have left a legacy in my life and you're still building your legacy in my life. And I cannot imagine my life without you, without me being a part of this class of Steele. I want to say thank you for each and every person that has helped me get this far. You have challenged me several times. Many people of you have called me, asked me so many questions, and I know they have seen an improvement in my life. What has this class been for me tonight? I would like to confirm to you or to encourage you that how you got all of us together and put us in our position to be a part of your team. You were led by your conviction, and that you didn't get it right. You didn't get it wrong. You just got it right. Every time you felt that you doubted something, you change, immediately change. And so with that, I really I appreciate you. I see your moves. I always see your moves and I see that they are going in the right direction. You do not take long to make a decision. It's good for a leader like you and for dealing with us internationally, globally, to make a decision or even to teach us to make sure that we do not stay in one place for a long time if things are not moving. What I saw also is that it's not good for us to continue to mold people and build them if they are not in the right, if they are not aligning with what they are doing. You need to quickly make a decision and change those individuals. You either change them to the position that they can perform better or improve than continuously force them to deliver what they cannot. You as a leader, you must be in position to decide, to discern and say for sure, I have tried one time, second time, the third time you should make the decision and say, no, I think this person, let me do them justice. Let me remove them from that position, or let me request them to step down politely and you find the suitable person. Many times, leaders always put people in position because they are their friends, they are related to them, they are from the same tribe. So the legacy you will take long to realize your legacy. But if you want to succeed in building your legacy, you have to be quickly to make it. You have to quickly adjust. You can play around with your decision until you get it right. So I would like to say that, Doctor, I agree with you so very much. I used to have that challenge when I began leading so many young people and old people. I would put them in position because maybe they are qualified, but when it comes to practical, they are not able to produce. And I assume I could look at what their academic papers say about them vis-a-vis what they practically do. You find that they're not able to add up. So with that being said, I would like to encourage all of us to take time and see the people around us and put them in their places, just fix them in their right places so that you can move fast, so that the organization can go on very quickly. Because if you have people who agree with you, it's easy for you to manage them and build the legacy. So thank you very much, Dr. Michael Steele. With that being said, I would like to stop here and allow other people to contribute. Thanks.
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency Doreen. When we come back in September, you and I are not on any vacation. My management team isn't on vacation, but we will have so many things in September put in place for the 1st of September. So I appreciate you. And I also appreciate your heart and your willingness to change your organization and your structure, because that's what's bringing your success. Not me. I'm just preaching and teaching and sharing and mentoring. It's up to you to do the work. It's up to all of you who are listening and hearing to make those changes. I got where I am because I listened. I took counsel and I added it to my life. And I don't despise my mentors. I don't despise the books I've read. I don't despise the teaching, because they're the reason why I am where I am today. So thank you so very much, Your Excellency Doreen, for being on the team at the head, because I know the head is working. Your Excellency, Donald Ewers, Dr. Donald Ewers, our Chief of Protocol, please, what's your take on this evening's class?
Pleasant good evening, Your Excellency, Dr. Michael Steele, and all the excellency in the house. And it is most honorable, sir, to have such a session tonight talking about legacy. And sir, I remember the first time we met through Pastor Jeffrey, was introduced. And I always said to myself, how on earth can you say that statement? But your statement there, when we met the very first time in Woolwich Library in London, you said, we are friends for life. And I went back home to my family and I said, how on earth this man doesn't know me from, I'm a Jamaican, you're from Barbados. Jamaicans and Barbados, you know, we have some kind of clashes. We don't, you know, we Jamaicans call you the small island man and we're the bigger island. And so there's a cultural differences. However, amongst all of that, what you say for true, sir, we are friends for life. And one of the things that when you offered me the position of being the chief for the class of Steele protocol, I was saying to myself, so you don't really even know me to that extent, but you've seen something in me. And, you know, your legacy that you're talking about, I can see, for those who don't know my background, that, you know, I'm coming from a very long way. Working in BBC, I work in BBC World Service for 10 years. I have experience coming from that background. I work as a project manager feeding the homeless for 13 years. I work in NHS as an occupational therapist for 25 years. as one of the main person that when the students come in, I used to mentor them. And so my background and my knowledge, I work in the prisons, I work as advisors for the police. So my background suited the chief protocol. And some of the things you'll get to know as we go along. The legacy that we left behind, and it's really, really a touching and emotional thing. Talking about legacy, and I'd just like to give two short testimonial regarding Leonard's legacy. And then I've been always probably working in that area, being an ambassador, even before so. I remember I was walking on the streets of London and this young man came up, tall, slim young man came up and said, "Excuse me, sir, can you direct me to Greenwich University?" I said, "You're totally out of the way, young man." I said, "Pop in the car and let me drive you to the place." He looked at me strange because it was second day. He's a young Nigerian boy. He was about 27 years of name. His name was Michael Ojo. And Michael popped in the car, very frightened, very scared, very timid. And I smiled and I said, "You a Christian?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I am a Christian." And I took Michael under my hand, never know him, never met him, don't know anything. And I nurtured that young man from the time to his get married, to his family, to the university, to the completely stranger. I invested in him. I sit and talk him. Michael didn't even know how to use a card where you're going to the cash machine. I had to show him how to use a cash machine. Michael's family, I didn't understand the Nigeria culture, but I got to know it about that. Everybody they call uncle. And I thought he said he's with his uncle. It was his real uncle, but it was his dad friend. So his dad friend sponsored him to the UK, only sponsored him. So when he came to the UK, all they gave him is a front door key and said, "Find yourself." The poor boy doesn't know anybody. He doesn't know that. He wept bitterly because he didn't know. And I took him under my arms. So when you're talking about legacy, when you're talking about people, you don't have to be family. You don't have to. No, Michael is a top accountant. No, Michael's wife, he works in the big city. I think Michael's wife the other day, she's on 65K a year. He's a pastor. I went to his ordination. No, I'm saying all of this, me investing in somebody's life. Look at the output. Never met his family, never met anybody. No, his present family I know, but father, mother, never met. Another young man from the Caribbean. Met him as also, and he was a student, and he was working at McDonald's, emptying the lorries with McDonald's frozen food. He works from about 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, "You can't go home at night, early hours as a young black man on the streets of London." I let him sleep on my sofa for 1 year in my house. I said it to my wife. She agreed and she slept to them. That guy now is a top an accountant earning something like I said he just got promotion there. He's earning £75,000 a year. I invest. I've only mentioned those two because time would fail me. When you're talking about legacy, when you're talking about investing, these are complete strangers. Don't know them from Adam. Investing your legacy that when you leave this generation, you can be remembered. You can go out of here just like how you, Bishop Steele, is investing your time, your energy in us. It's the legacy through the class of Steele. Sir, I salute you. I pray God extend your life, your family, the blessing of God coming to promote on your life, and that God continue to open doors for you. Before I go, I was also thinking about three different people who are talking about legacy. And one of the things that with legacy is Dr. Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King left a legacy with one. Everybody use the terminology, "I have a dream." You go all the whole world. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. It was a legacy. Mother Teresa from Calcutta, it was a legacy she left behind. Nelson Mandela, they all left legacy behind that even unto today for the next generation and next generation. Sir, your legacy, you said it's a class of steel for 100 years. It will go over 100 years. God bless you.
Thank you so very much, my chief of protocol. You know where the keys to the safe is. Please don't forget. I want to ask Her Excellency Bishop Dr. Comfort Adu out of Ghana, and the time is 10:53 p.m. I just want to give a couple of my team members an opportunity to speak. This is going live on YouTube and also on LinkedIn. And we're going to be closing the class of Steele on Friday. So I just want a couple of my team members so that you get to know who we are and what we are about and understand us and the legacy that we're putting in place. And please don't think that us going on break for 3 weeks mean that we are slowing down. No, we're just speeding up and gearing up for September where we come out again for you to know what's happening. Your Excellency, Bishop Dr. Comfort Adu, please share your thought this evening with us from this evening's class on legacy and building a legacy. How was it for you?
Thank you, Your Excellency, Bishop Dr. Michael Anthony Steele. It's a pleasure being on this class, and I also take this opportunity to greet all members, Your Excellencies, and everybody who is on the class this evening. In fact, actually, leaving a legacy is my heart desire. I always glad it when that topic is being raised up, because we came to this world not for our own. We came to play a part and then leave it. And we talk of legacy, as His Excellency was telling us how to build a legacy and the rest. My mind was cast back the time when we started the union. I just entered a workplace after school. I did my A-levels on my own. I studied everything on my own. I sat my exams on my own, and by the grace of God, I passed. And then in this office that I entered, I stayed there till the time I came out or I retired. But in between, just as I started, we had a director who has just passed on. He said a letter has come to the office to invite members to form a group, a pressure group that can stand for the government and then the workers. I was just asked to attend the meeting. The very first day that I got to the meeting, I was elected as a regional vice president. And after a year, the treasurer was transferred. So I automatically became the treasurer. And that was the office I handled till I forced myself out. Why did I force myself out? Because I wanted to go higher and see what I can do. But one remarkable thing that I want to share is that when we started, there was no money, no funds. And I remember at that time I wasn't married. So at the end of the month, when the program is drawn to go to other districts, I remember the secretary and others would come to me, Madam, there's no money. And I would dip my hand into my pocket and then give them money to. So I was so happy with what I was doing, because I knew I was building a legacy. I was building a structure that can speak or stand for the workers. By the grace of God, we went through, there were so many challenges. That was the time I also learned how not to be shy, because I was very shy when I started. But I had people who mentored me along the line. Here we call it a milestone. So somebody who mentored you is your milestone. And by the grace of God, I got over so many things. And I remember times when I have to give a command for somebody to remove from an office, like a head of department to be removed. By the grace of God, I went through all those things. I remember there was a time ahead of the whole civil service could not talk because I was present. Why am I saying this? My mentors were able to build into me capacities that was able to move me forward. That I don't fear going to see the president, or I don't fear going to see the regional minister, I don't fear going to see the head of department, which of course initially when I started work, I was so fearful. But by the grace of God. So what Your Excellency, you are teaching us is very good in the sense that it helps us to know who we are and what is ahead of us and what we are supposed to do. Because in this class of Steele, you have seen that you have not shelved anything. You have opened your arms, your home, your everything for those of us you are mentoring to know exactly who you are and those you are working with. I'm glad to be with all seasoned men and women in this class. And at the time that His Excellency uh, Chaplain Prophet Odemba introduced me to you, I was thinking that why should this man bother himself and push me into another level? I thought that it was a time for me to relax and then look at whatever I'm handling and see how best I can uh, fashion it to be a state that I want it to be. Not, little did I know that I will be given such a Herculean task of meeting the monarchs in the Africa, meeting heads of state, doing this and that. And my mind was cast back at the time that I was in the union. You know, union in African states something, real something. You are confronted with challenges that is like you are in a political field. But I thank God for all those grooming. And I know that whatever place that I have been positioned, not by my own self, but I believe by the strength of God, the God who has helped me through diverse ways, the God who has taken me through times when I least expected to get over, the same God is going to see me through. And coming to Awas was something, when I left the union, look at what I have built in the union. Our region became one of the regions they were looking up to, because anything that would go on successfully comes from the Ashanti region. And by the grace of God, we were so proud that we were able to make it. And I remember this when I left the regional treasurership and then entered the uh, portfolio of national vice president. All that came was that when we were having our last election on the regions moving to the national, I lost the national treasury when I was about to enter. But from what the Lord revealed to me, my heart was set, my heart was prayed that God has something better for me. And there are certain issues that cropped up I don't want to share now. But I remember for the next time we went after 4 years, we went for the election. I did not even consider myself as a person who is going to for the election. I did not, simply because I was seeing that the person who was elected and I lost was doing a very good job. I don't see the reason why I should contest it. So I did not stand. And at that same time, there was an issue that cropped up. And the national executives came round and then asked me to be the electoral commissioner for that event. So when I was given that position, at first I did not want to take it. I told them that I came on an observer status. And they said that, with that, I said, this is a crisis that is coming. At that time, I wasn't a pastor. I was just a pastor's wife. They say, pastor's wife, can you help us? So I went back and then talked to my superiors, that is the chairman of our region. He said, maybe at a time like this that the Lord has brought you, maybe you'll be of a help. So why don't you give in and then help us out? Why am I saying this? You see, when we look at our mentors, whatever they tell us, they know exactly what they are saying. This my mentor, the chairman who has been mentoring me. If I did not listen to him, I wouldn't have known that I could also stand in for a vice a vice chairman and leave the treasurership, because with the treasurership, I don't know with the other countries, but when you, the moment, I remember one time, my late husband bought a car for the church and I came to the office. Then one of them said, hey, look at Comfort. Look at the money that she has been collecting. Now she has bought a car for the family. In fact, I was so grieved. You see, because you are in possession of the treasure, the monies of the association, people will be dreaming and thinking otherwise. So I told myself that when I get out of this treasureship, there's nowhere that I'll enter again, so that my life can be meaningful for me and I can move ahead and do whatever I wanted to do. Then came the time that I have to do this letter commission work. By the grace of God, all that I set out was successful, and that crisis was pushed aside, and we were very happy. So when I came back, I said, no, I will not be a treasurer again. I'll batch for vice president. And when I went in, by the grace of God, I won. And when I won, there were so many changes I wanted to make. I was running too fast. So, the members caught my leg when it came to the time that I wanted to be the president. They said, no, we don't want a pastor. That time I became a pastor. So we don't want the pastor to be our president, because I know what I'm talking about. So in short, what I want to say that is that it's the Lord who enables us to do whatever we want to do. And now when I go back, anytime that I go back to the office, they see me as somebody who has helped the union. They see me as a person who has brought up the union to stay. And they accord me with all those due respect. I remember countless times when I walk in there, sometimes my mind is not on anything. Before I leave, they give me an envelope. The last time that I was going for the assignment they gave me, I didn't have anything. But before I came out from the office, they gave me something to work with. What am I saying? If you are given an assignment and you do it very well, it's the Lord that takes good care of you. What I'm saying is that when I was leaving the union, you see, I became so happy because I said, having worked so hard for all these years, from 74 to 2006, for only to be told that because I'm not because I'm a pastor, I cannot be a president. Anyway, I loved it because that was what God told me, that this is the end of the road. You doing something else. So I took it in good faith and we all danced that day and I left. But I raised a paper, a memo that those who have served in the union for a long time, we must honor them. You know, I was a pioneer, but I did not add my name. And my secretary was saying that, Madam, why don't you add your name? If you have served longer than anybody in this office. I said, no, because I muted again. I don't want people to think that because I wanted an award, that is why I'm doing this. But I said that people have served a lot and that they need to be rewarded. So we set it out and we awarded so many people. So at the end of the day, when I did not win, my secretary said, Madam, you see, I told you, now that you did not win, when and how are you going to be awarded? I said, no, let us leave the whole thing. I've done what I'm supposed to do. So the president at that time asked me to help him to sort things out, and then that is the new president. So I gladly accepted because that's my role. I have to help. So I came in one morning and there were some people in the office. They handed me a large envelope. I just looked at it and put it down. The man was surprised. Why don't you open it? And when I opened it, it was an award paper awarding me to be the Kwame Nkrumah Leadership Award. Look at that. I was so surprised. And then the secretary came and said, you see, Madam, you said that it's the Lord who awards and rewards our efforts. I know that now that the Lord has spoken. So from that time on, the Lord was telling me, before it came, the Lord was telling me about this awards issue. I did not understand. But since that time, my life changed into thinking about how to award people, how to uplift people, how to make people smile, put a smile in their face. Some people have been working so long so much that people don't recognize what they have done. And then I had this passion for this work for a long time. And I was wondering why His Excellency uh, Bishop Dr. Michael Anthony still puts me in that position. But the first day he announced it, I did not say anything because I was lost with words. I didn't have anything to say. Now I don't have anything to say. But I will say that the Lord God, who knows what the class of steel is for, I believe strongly in my spirit that it's going to get into places. It's not going to be a 9-day wonder class. It's going to be from generation to generation. And I believe that this is a time that God wants to correct certain. Because I was telling somebody, and after this I'll talk to His Excellency. I said that the next generation, what we can do is to impart into them integrity. Because we always talk about our leaders did not help us, our leaders should have done this, our leaders did not do that, all high because the integrity was not embedded in them when they started. But our mentor has brought this up that why don't we mentor the next generation and by embedding in them the spirit of integrity so that they can move ahead and then bring the nations into the position where they should be. I believe in the next generation is going to be a different story because corruption and other things that we have been talking about is going to be corrected because of the class of steel. Your Excellency, the Lord richly bless you. And thank you so much. I have so much to say, but I would like to pause here and say that this is a generation that the Lord is going to use to do wonders. The Lord bless you all. I respect the chief of protocol because I've been in protocol before. I'm still in protocols. I know exactly when somebody is a chief of protocol. I always tell this after I was having a meeting with my protocol group, and I told them that when somebody is a protocol, the person works with the leader. If the leader falls, he falls. If he falls, the leader falls because they work hand in hand, and he knows the heart of the leader. Then he knows how to know. I was saying that when we are doing crusades, and leaders come from outside for us to lead them, we protocol. If you don't work well, even within ourselves, if we are not one, the meeting will not be successful. Chief of Protocol, I believe you understand what I'm saying. So the Lord will bless you for what you are doing. You are the right arm of the class of steel. And I thank God I bless our daughter, Excellency Ambassador Doreen. Ambassador Doreen, you make it too. Don't think that is a killing task. And everybody who has been given an assignment, you will make it because it's the Lord who is making things work. It is not by ourselves. The Lord will bless everybody. And I also thank His Excellency Idamba, the chief chaplain, who brought me into the class of state. I'm very proud of you. Thank you. And then Her Excellency uh, Jeannie, she excites me. Her voice, her demeanor, everything she does, it shows that there is unity in this house. So if the leaders are united, what can't we do? God said that these people, they are one. Whatever they want to do, they will be able to achieve it. So on this note, I will say that whatever they have, they are putting it to us so that we can also be great achievers. Thank you so much for listening.
You know, I'm sat here and I'm watching Zionist, I'm watching Orokoya, I'm watching Barrister, I'm watching Doreen, and I hear my wife. And I want to tell you something, Your Excellency Bishop Comfort. You are the greatest joy to me in the class of Steele as a young man, because a lot of our elders have been ignored and swept under the carpet, and nobody has time and patience to listen to them and hear them. I just listen to you with so much patience and love because you know what? I am the reason, I am the way I am because I was raised by my great grandmother who told me the same story every single day because she was in her 90s. And I listened to it the same way as if I never heard it before. Why? because in her heart, she was excited to have something to tell her grandson or her great grandson. And Bishop Comfort, I want you to know that if nobody else pays attention and listens patiently, I want you to know that your CEO or your head of the class of Steel is going to sit and wait patiently until you finish. You bring tears to my heart, and I love you dearly. And anybody that don't have the patience to tolerate you in the class of Steel, they have to go. They have to go because our young people need to respect their elders and know that our elders don't speak as fast as we do. But what our elders say has so much value. Your Excellency, Bishop Comfort, we in the class of Steve value you and love you. And your legacy is going to be great. As long as the class of Steve is around, you don't have to sit in your front house alone because of being a widow. You have us in the class of Steve as a family. And I hope you know that. You're important to us and valued. I hope you know that. And I want to thank all of you for your patience. I so admire all of you. I'm proud of you guys. Your Excellency, Olukoya, I want you as a chief of protocol to share your thoughts. Zionist, don't leave. Zionist, you're in London with me. You and I have strong internet connections. Stay put. Your Excellency, Olukoya, please share your thought this evening before we close.
Thank you, Excellency. And just as you, and I want to salute all the excellencies in the house. Um, as Bishop Comfort was talking, I was actually listening to the flow of what she was saying, and I'm really touched, by the lessons drawn, from her statements, because there is a connection from the very beginning to the end. So I salute you, Ma, for what you've shared with us. My own take this evening is very brief. What you shared about building the legacy, before now, actually, I violated the everything you just shared, and and it cost me about $1.5 million, in that I suffered in losses, and I don't know what happened, but I set up another company, and the way God arranged it, because when she was talking, there is the God factor, It's not that I know how to set up the company, but I have 80% of the controlling shares this time around. The other time, we shared it equally, and three of us, and the other two just came together, and then they knocked me off. But this time around, I have 80%. So I was shocked when I saw 80%, from what you taught us this evening. And I the other the network is actually 5%. So I was just thinking of what to do with about the remaining 15% when this class now came. And so I already know what to do. That other company, despite the fact that those two guys took it, the company is dead now, But the one that I'm running now is already towing this path of this master class tonight. So there are things that I've gotten here that I will take my time to go and apply. So I want to deeply appreciate you for this class tonight. And I assure you that just as we are trusting and believing that the class of Steele will live for minimum of 100 years and beyond, so also the company that I'm building now. So I want to appreciate you deeply, and I want to thank all those that have contributed, that as we make up our minds to go by what we are learning, because part of what struck me is protection. We need to protect and guide jealously what we have, because there are people out there that want to take them from us. So we should be careful and ensure that we don't allow it to fail. What I just shared with you, that, I lost about $1.5 million, it set me back for close to 10 years. So I know I learned the lesson bitterly, but I won't make that mistake again. So thank you very much, Your Excellency, for this masterclass. Indeed, we are building a legacy, not just for our private and individual lives, but as we succeed in our various individual lives, and we come together as successful people, we will now build a legacy for the class of Steele. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I appreciate you.
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency Olukoya. Much appreciated. I want to ask our Zionist, I know you sat there patiently and waiting, and I want you to give your take on this evening's class. I see your smiles all throughout the class. I watch your faces, all of you. So give your take on this evening's class, Zionist. You're very welcome. Zionist is in the United Kingdom, and we just welcome you to this evening's masterclass.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Bishop Dr. Michael Steele, for the privilege and the honor to share in this wonderful lecture, which in itself is a great legacy. Andrea Crouch sang in his song that through it all, I've learned to trust in Christ. I've learned to depend on him. That is true. But what I've not learned until now is that very wisdom, which, helps us to ensure that we have a legacy, we're building a legacy, and that we live a legacy. So this evening, I've learned so much. What I have taken from this is a framework. You've given me a framework with which to work with. Before I was a king, you could liken me to the woman that goes to the market and buy different ingredients and put them in one basket, and only to come back home and start, tediously separating them instead of compartmentalizing them from the beginning. And so I've been through situations in life where I've kind of done it so haphazardly. And I'm saying it so haphazardly because I've got to go back and then piece the pieces from what you have impacted onto me through your lesson. The one thing that I got from you, Your Excellency, is that question, why are you building? And one thing you say is that the gift in you and the knowledge and all the wisdom impacted by your mentor, they were never documented. So I took joy in hearing you saying that, because what I'm doing for my own children, sometimes I feel like they do not appreciate it. When I'm constantly telling them, this is that, I am building what I would class as a legacy, because as an orphan, I have no clue of my background. I have a clue of my background, but parental awareness, I don't have much about the knowledge of my parents. And I don't know if I see my mother today, I will never recognize my mother. I don't have a picture of who my mother is. And so many other stories that most of us can, relate to in different ways. And I'm trying to ensure that when I live, that my children will have sufficient information, awareness of their culture. They are of mixed heritage background. If I become laid back, relaxed because I'm in the West, these children are going to disappear into the system, and I will do them a great disfavor because there's going to be a disjointing from their cultural heritage, and that spells absolute and total ignorance. And I don't want to do that. And so that's one facet of me putting together a piece of my history, my background for my children. But I never translated it into a legacy, as I have just discovered from listening, taking note in this lecture. And like I said, I've got a framework with which to go and appreciate what I've been doing and put them in order. For instance, rules for success. My children may not, I'm trying to bring them on board what I'm doing, but they are self-sufficient in the West. They don't have a good understanding of what I'm doing. So is it really the best way? Should I go back and reevaluate what I'm trying to do and how to get them engaged, following the rules for success, see what I'm doing right and what I'm not doing right. I would also like to touch home on what Her Excellency Bishop Dr. Edu mentioned about the issue of integrity. The issue of integrity, she mentioned that integrity was not embedded in our leaders, which has caused the failures that we are seeing. And that takes me back to 2 Chronicles chapter 21 regarding King Jehoram. He is the son of the great Jehoshaphat. But the Bible says that when he died, no one was sorry to see him die. He was buried in the city of David rather than in the tombs of the kings. And I don't want to be like that. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you so very much for your submission. One of the things that this particular class, Building a Legacy, is actually a live master class that is designed actually for a person. And we will be doing it in London, we'll be doing it in Birmingham, in Manchester, and different regions coming in September when we put a lot of stuff in place. It's going to be actually a live in-person masterclass for individuals to sit in and ask questions and have dialogue, because you could appreciate we have so many different dynamics of our own personal legacies to leave. And everybody's legacy is going to be different, but there's certain tenets of leaving a legacy that are infallible. It doesn't matter what your legacy is or how you're leaving it or why you're leaving it. There are certain things that you have to have in place that are infallible. You leaving a family legacy is going to create a dynamic where you're going to have to manage 80% of that. You leaving a legacy with your husband is a separate thing, because remember, your personal legacy from your background is one that you are going to have to be responsible for and put those tenets in place for a successful presentation. You're going to have to put that in place. Is it finding your family? Is it finding your loved ones? Is it getting to know who they are? What is it that you're going to put in the legacy that you're going to start, that somebody is going to be responsible for completing, either in your lifetime or after? But whichever way, be assured, you have to start that process and build on it. There's another thing that I will share with you, and it's very important. Some legacies, there are two types. There's one that you can either show individuals what to do, and then there are individuals, and then there's the other one that show individual what you did. They show individuals what to do, and then show individuals what you did. So you have to determine if you're going to make them want to do what you want them to do and understand it now, or you're just going to do it and leave the things in place, the footprints in place for them to see. And that's what I am doing. I know that I'm 50 years old and Joshua is 6. God knows when my father died at 65 years old, 64, 65 years old. My dad died. And that's just the next, for me, that's just the next 15 years. So the next 15 years, Joshua's going to be 21. He's not even going to be maybe at that stage of marriage and family. Am I going to be around still? Am I still going to be able to impact him? So the class of Steele is creating an environment where my son is going to hear daddy. You know, this is going to outlive me. This technology, this information is going to outlive me. The books that I have written are going to outlive me. And as much as my son might grieve if the Lord should take me home, he's going to have those books to read. He's going to read daddy's words. He's going to hear my voice. He's going to hear me. What about you? Does your legacy include your voice? Does your legacy include your heart? Sending my son to education at a university and getting all the degrees is good. It's okay. But it doesn't give him who he is, which is his DNA, which is me. I am him and he is me. And a lot of times we allow the world to mentor our children. We allow the world to put in our families what the world wants to. I wish that I had my dad put in me an entrepreneur mindset from my very youth, but I had to struggle with it. Starting companies, starting business, failing, making it. So you have to, as individuals, determine how and what you're going to do and put it in place. And the class of Steele is here to help you till you go to your maker if you stick around long enough with us. All right. So with that being said, I love you so much, and we've really gone over the time this evening. I want to specifically say thank you to Zoom. I don't want to be arrogant and rude and thinking that Zoom owes us anything and we take advantage. I want to appreciate Zoom and YouTube and the social media that allow us the opportunity to have this information to share. I want to appreciate them. And I want to pledge our continued support for Zoom and Zoom technology because it has caused the class of Steele to become real and viable, and we will not compromise our association and our relationship with you. Zoom, you have been kind and good to us, and we will continue to pledge our support and our endorsement of Zoom technology and Zoom services. I also want to thank all of you in the class of Steele for being here with us, our LinkedIn partners and associates and friends. Thank you so very much for listening in. And I hope you're able to join us on Wednesday when we share in the class of Steele on the second part of this series, Building a Legacy. You're going to be excited with the second part because it's filled with information that will take you to the next level. I'm His Excellency Dr. Michael Steele, my beautiful wife, Her Excellency Jeannie Steele, our COO, Doreen Barunji, and all of our key partners and associates, our Chief of Protocol, Minister Ewers, our Youth Director, Olukoya, and Bishop Comfort, our West Africa Coordinator. Thank you so very much for being with us this evening in the class of Steele. Good night and God bless you.
Good night. God bless. Good night. God bless you, Excellency. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night. God bless.